Welcome to Quebec, everybody. It's a lovely sunny day here. If you arrive on a nice day, then head straight down to the Plains of Abraham, which you see behind me. This is the 10th largest urban park in the world, and it's absolutely gorgeous. We're going to head over now to the Joan of Arc garden. This is an important, significant place because it's the place where O Canada, the national anthem, was very first sung. It was on the fete of Saint Jean Baptiste on the 24th of June 1880. This is the beautiful Joan of Arc garden, and we've got a statue of Joan of Arc here. And it says here on the monument, a tribute to the historical charm of Quebec, this monument was presented to the National Battlefields Commission by two anonymous donors as an emblem of the patriotism and valour of the heroes of 1759 and 1760. And what we're going to do now is walk down Grand Allee, which is the street where you can see some of the most beautiful houses and popular restaurants in Quebec. We've got a statue here of Charles de Gaulle, President de la République Française from 1958 to 1960. While we're on the way to Grand Allee, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about travelling to Quebec. So the most important thing is remember to get your ETA visa, and it's an electronic visa, so you need to make sure that you're on the correct website, the Government of Canada website, and not some kind of scam website. They do exist. And your electronic visa will be, I think it's about 7 or 8 Canadian dollars. It only works out at £3 or £4, and it's electronic, so it will be attached to your passport. Don't travel without it. There was somebody who was held up at Heathrow because he didn't get his visa and he couldn't travel to Canada. The money works out quite well to the pound at the moment, so we're in June 2025 right now, and the general rule is if you halve it you get pounds. So if I'm paying 20 Canadian dollars for a burger, it's around 10 or 11 quid. So it's quite easy to work out right now, and it's quite a good rate. So Grand Allee changes its vibe. In the daytime it can be quite family orientated and lots of restaurants. At night it kind of comes to life for the nightlife. There's also a lot of hotels down here. Another tip for Quebec for you is do try to learn a little bit of French. I can't remember my GCSE French very well, but I have had a go, and it really does help. Many people here do speak English, but some people won't speak English, they'll only speak French. And also you make really good impressions on the locals if you have a go. So definitely try your French. This place is absolutely gorgeous. I can see why it's so popular. You can see the Grand Allee Armoury, or the Quebec Armoury, right behind me, and this was built as a Gothic revival drill hall for the infantry, but I believe that now it's reopened as a museum. And it's also an events hall as well. Then just down here we've got the Museum of the Plains of Abraham, and this is historical exhibits of the Battle of the Plains of Abraham and the Battle of Saint-Foy. I think it was 1759 and 1760 respectively. So this is really cool. I've just found a statue of Confucius in the middle of Quebec, and he's the leader of the religion or the philosophy Confucianism. It tells us some information here. My French is not great, my Chinese is non-existent, but I believe that it's a gift from the province of Shandong in China, and it's to represent the cultural links between Quebec or French Canada and the Chinese. Continuing to walk down Grand Allee at the minute, and you can see the National Assembly on my left. What I'm going to do is take you for a walk all the way down to hopefully reach the Basilica. We are going to go through the old city walls now. There's 4 main gates to the old city of Quebec. This is probably the most popular one. This is the Cross of Sacrifice right here, and it's built as a memorial to all the Quebecois who lost their life in the war. Sign here on the ramparts, and this says that the French Canadians marched in triumphantly along the Grand Allee in 1690. If we go to the left here before we enter the ramparts, we should see one of the most beautiful fountains in Quebec. So this is Fontaine de Tournai, and it's one of the most beautiful fountains in Quebec. There's one also in, I think it's Bordeaux. And have a look at the little frogs that squirt water out of their mouths. It's so cool. It's really getting hot now. It's about 26 or 27 degrees. One of the things that I wanted to mention to you about visiting Quebec was that you need to consider the seasons. I wouldn't recommend travelling in August, way too hot. I wouldn't recommend travelling in December or January, way too cold. The best time to come is around May and June, I would say. But if you're coming in the summer, you must pack sun hat, sun cream, light cotton or linen clothing. It's absolutely boiling, and I had to put my after sun on yesterday because I actually got a little bit sunburnt. If you're travelling in the winter, you really need to pack for deep snow and ice, and you know, your walking boots, your snow boots even, lots of layers, your Gore-Tex jacket, your fleece. So do plan for the time of year that you're visiting and pack your suitcase accordingly. The other thing that you need to remember when you do your packing is to bring a travel adapter, because it's the thin 2-pronged adapter that you would use in the USA here in Canada. Right here we've got a monument to Francois Xavier Garneau. He was a historian from 1809 to 1866. Next we're going to head on into the old city through the ramparts, and this is Port Saint-Louis. I've just found another really interesting statue, and we've got a statue here of Mahatma Gandhi, who fought for India's independence and led the country with the concept of ahimsa, or non-violence, through the fight for independence. He did the Salt March in India. When you come through this gate as well, have a look for the Churchill and Roosevelt heads. This is another war monument here, or a memorial, and it says, "To those sons of Quebec who gave their lives in South Africa while fighting for the Empire, 1899 to 1902. I'm walking now down Rue Saint-Louis, and hopefully we will get to the Chateau Frontenac at the end, which is one of the most famous hotels in the world, and we're also going to find the Basilica. I'll just let you have a view of Rue Saint-Louis. I'll switch the camera around. Restaurant over there for traditional Quebecois cuisine, and it's called La Bouche. I ate in its partner restaurant La Bouchette last night, and I had my first poutine. You can find all sorts of food in Quebec as well. You can find Italian, Chinese, Japanese. It's very international in the food scene. These little restaurants and shops are so cute. Here you can see Restaurant au Ancien Canadien. This is the oldest house in Quebec. He's beautiful. You can feed him carrots if you want to. So if you want to have a carriage ride, it's 80 Canadian dollars for 20 minutes or 120 for 30 minutes. And remember, you need to roughly halve it to get to English pounds. So your carriage ride is about £40. Beautiful horses. I'm standing in Place d'Armes at the moment, which is one of the most famous squares in Quebec, and right behind me you can see Chateau Frontenac, which has now been converted into a hotel, and this is probably one of the most famous hotels in the world, and it's definitely the most photographed. I'll give you a quick view of the hotel right now. If you want to stay at Hotel Fairmont, which is the chateau, it's not actually as expensive as you might think. It is a lot of money, but online I went on booking.com and had a look for prices this week, and you can get a room at the moment for about 400 or 500 Canadian dollars, which is probably about 200, 250 quid a night. If you want a luxury experience, this would be well worth it as a place to stay. And the location, of course, is fantastic. We've got into the castle, and right behind me there's the storage room, or the ice house, which was basically a big fridge. This is all what's underneath the Chateau Frontenac, and it's the ruins of the first chateau that was used by the governors, the French and the English governors. And you can see kitchens, you can see storage rooms down here. I think it's only $5 Canadian to go in.
They're always going to have all the best, because the governor expect the best. At its biggest, the castle could have up to 200 guests for a dinner party, and up to 400 for a dancing event or something like that. So very, very big. It's much bigger than it actually looks. But today, the kitchen, but yes, it was very, very large home, so you need food and alcohol for up to 400 people.
We're actually going inside Chateau Frontenac right now.
The hotel was finished in 1924. That's the Maxwell brothers, architect from Montreal, who built the 18th floor towers and the St. Louis wings, where the ballroom is today. But I want you to imagine, before we go inside, that we're back in 1924, because the decor you will see inside, evoking like a British mansion, as much as it's a French castle outside, inside, it's built like a British mansion, like a Victorian house at the time. So imagine yourself in 1924, your customers ready to live la vie de Chateau, the Chateau lifestyle, because you will see the same decor that the Maxwell brothers created in 1924. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chateau Frontenac. Alors quand on dit par exemple je m'appelle, just to give you an idea, I don't know if you heard about the television show called Friends. Do you remember that show? Yeah. There were a gentleman, Joey, he was trying to learn French with his friend Phoebe. And every time she was saying je, he was repeating je m'appelle Claude. Claude. And when he was saying it, blah 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 blah. So if ever you're not able to speak French, you can say blah 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 blah. I'm not a very severe teacher, actually. But when we want to introduce ourselves, en fait, nous disons je m'appelle, et vous dites votre nom. Donc, je m'appelle Louis.
Je m'appelle Eugénie.
Oh! Bravo! Et vous? Je m'appelle Thierry.
Tu parles parfaitement français.
Je m'appelle Ou je viens des États-Unis. Parce qu'il y a plusieurs États, there are many states. So, it's plural. Du Canada, de Québec. Alors vous,
Je viens des États-Unis.
So right now I am drinking Vin Rouge red wine in the rose room of the Chateau Frontenac, and they actually made the plans for the Normandy landing in this room. So Churchill, Roosevelt, they all made the plans in here. Apparently some of the plans were lost and they were found by an employee of the Chateau, who was then followed by the Secret Service. We'll head out back onto the terrace next. There's a funicular here and a gift shop. Great restaurants nearby. Sorry, there's a little bit of construction work going on. This is the place where you'll come to get the red bus city tour and the blue bus tour that goes to the falls. Another quick travel tip for you is to make sure that you carry cash and card, because some places don't accept cash, so it would be a really good idea to take a Visa or a MasterCard. You can also get a travel money card with the post office as well, so make sure that you activate it if you've got one of those. You might find that you really need it, so I had a drink in Chic Shack, which is just behind me, and it was card only, but luckily I'd got my card. Opposite the Chateau and Place d'Armes you'll find Bonjour Quebec, which is the information centre. It's open from 9 till 5 and you've got Wi-Fi, you've got an exchange bureau, a public telephone. They'll give you free maps as well in here. There's also toilets in here, public toilets. Just go inside and go down a level, so that's an important place to know because they won't let you go into the chateau. This little artsy street is really, really cute.
Oh, this will get to see that like a first time.
Okay, Auntie Deb, you're going to love this because it's a year-round Christmas shop. We're approaching Quebec Basilica now, and this is the only church outside of Europe with a holy door, and that's specific to Catholicism. This is the monument of Cardinal Taschereau, the first Canadian cardinal. Right behind me you can see Quebec Basilica, and this is the oldest church in Canada, and it was the first church to be upgraded to basilica status. It's a Roman Catholic church and welcomes visitors all year round. I'm going to see if we can head inside. I've found out that all churches in Quebec are free to visit, so make sure that you don't hesitate to go inside. Just obviously respect with silence. Lots of them say no flash photography as well, and just be aware of service times. Make sure you avoid those. The stained glass windows in Quebec Basilica have got stories from Jesus' life, biblical stories, and also some stories from the history of Quebec City as well. When you go in the Basilica, don't miss the prayer chapel, which is right at the back. There's a gorgeous organ and some lovely stained glass windows in there as well. Quebec is a very walkable city and very pedestrian friendly, so stay in the white lines when you cross. There's also signs for walk and don't walk, and generally the cars will stop for you, so it's a really nice place to see if you're a tourist on foot. After all that, I'm heading back for a little bit of a rest, recharge my batteries, recharge my gadgets. But I hope you're going to join me this evening for a river cruise on the St. Charles River. Today has been nothing short of incredible. I've explored the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Old Town, Quebec. I've been in Notre Dame de Quebec Basilica. I've even drank wine in Hotel Frontenac. But the day's not over yet. I'm still going on a river cruise, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Boarding the boat! So before I was drinking wine in the castle, now I'm drinking wine on a boat in front of the castle. Yeah, look at this! Beautiful! Yum yum! Perfect! What an amazing day that was. I'm shattered. This is Amy from Temple Seeker. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next city, which is Montreal.